love, love, love till I hear the breath of the Spirit flowing in me.
Hello and welcome to Spirit of Life. I'm Mirella Rich. Today our guest is Celine Saldanha, who is a Catholic Bible teacher. She's also a spiritual director to many people all over the world, and she's got many credits behind her name. Welcome to the program.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Could you tell us a little bit about your background, Celine?
Well, I'm a double graduate. I have 2 graduate degrees, one in chemistry, maths, and the other one in education and psychology. Besides that, I have collected quite a few diplomas down under my belt.
Beautiful.
I also did a course in religious education and teaching of the Bible.
Okay.
And, well, that's some of the things I've done.
And could you tell us a little bit about your background, how you got into the faith, into the all-Catholic faith? What's your story? Just to give the viewers an introduction to you, and then we'll read Mary's message from Medjugorje as well.
Okay. Well, I wasn't a person with very much faith. I was Catholic, born a Catholic, brought up in a Catholic home. And over the years, I was a person who was absolutely crazy, wanting more and more knowledge. And that took over my entire life. And finally, with all the degrees that I accumulated, I lost my faith.
Wow.
And
so the more knowledge you got.
Yeah, God became secondary. I became self-reliant. I didn't have a need of God. And unfortunately, I married a man who was very, very strong in his faith. In the first years of marriage, however, this caused discord.
Yeah.
Until God decided to touch me.
Yeah. And how did that happen?
Well, I always looked down upon him, to be honest. Not a very nice thing to say, but I'm going to be honest and truthful with you.
Of course,
okay?
that's what we want.
I looked down upon him and, considered him second class, somewhere down there. But he was very humble, and he was one who prayed for me sometimes late into the nights. Of course, not that I bothered about it.
Yeah.
He tried to instill faith in the family by saying, come, let's say the rosary. And I was such an arrogant person that I told him that the rosary is a cure for insomnia. I was at that level. And one day we had a quarrel, one of several quarrels. But in this I was so irritated and aggravated, and I told him, I said, if I want to do something, you and your God cannot stop me. And of course, having a dead conscience, you go to sleep, you don't bother. And also, you know about husband and wives, don't you?
I'm married.
I thought as much. And so what happened was, I took my 2 children with me. You always get a gang with you. And I slept in another room under the altar on the ground.
And so to tell the audience about the altar, you only had a little homemade altar at home.
Yes. It was a glass altar. My husband had a very strong devotion to Infant Jesus of Prague. And so we had an altar there and a lovely dome on the statue, beautiful candlesticks and, name it, and it was there on the altar.
Beautiful. So that was the place where your husband used to go and pray, was it?
Yes. And I had no why, but I chose that place to lay my bed down.
Wow. And you didn't usually pray there?
No, I went to sleep there on the ground. No, that's what I did. And suddenly in the night, around about 1:30 or so, I heard my husband's voice saying, Celine, don't move. And I looked up and I found the altar lamp dangling. And I saw him rushing and saying, don't move. And he collected some kind of cloth and napkins or whatever he could, sheets, whatever he could get. And he tried pressing my head down because it was bleeding. The altar cracked on my head.
Wow. Something fell from the altar onto your head.
The whole glass altar cracked on my skull.
Wow. And there was no indication of that going to happen earlier?
No, because in India we have concrete walls. And the altar was screwed down with solid long screws into those walls. So there was no chance of its coming down. And there was no wind or whatever. There was no reason for it to come down, but it did come down. And when it came down, and I opened my eyes, and he was, with those tissues and towels on my head, those words that I had uttered, if I want to do something, you and your God can't stop me. That came to me, and then I realized there was a God who could have put an end to me. If those glass bits had fallen in my eyes, today I'd have been blind. But no, he was merciful. And when I looked at my children, not a scratch on them, only my head went off. And that was that, how do you explain it? An inner realization. There is a God. And I'm dependent on him.
So you felt in your moment that was a real sign for you, personally, from God.
Yes, it was. And I said, Lord, I'm sorry. And then I also apologized to my husband for the person I was. Wow. It all flashed into me. My whole life was a kind of the arrogance, the pride.
Because you didn't really want to believe? What was the background? Because there'll be people that were like you, that could relate to that. You could maybe help them along.
I didn't need. I had everything. I had money. I had knowledge. I had a good job. I had respect in society. What else did I need? I didn't want God. I didn't even think about him. It was only my husband that was, saying, let's say the rosary and, wanting to go for Mass. Well, where Mass is concerned, in the first few years of marriage, I did go for Mass. First, it was out of a sense of duty. Every Catholic is supposed to go. And then it was like to avoid a fight in the house. I'd go with him. So I would go for Mass. And then the end, I said, I'm not going to put up with all this sham any longer. I don't want to go for Mass. And for 2 years, I didn't. Okay. And today, I can't do without Mass.
Beautiful. We're about to go to a break now, but it's a good point to end on. You're watching Spirit of Life. Stay with us. We'll be back with more very shortly.
Love, love, oh, till I hear but breath of the Spirit flowing in me.
Hello and welcome back to Spirit of Life. I'm Mirella Rich. If you've just joined us, we're here with Celine Saldanha, who's a Catholic Bible teacher. Welcome back to the program. Now, we've just ended the last segment with you talking about Mass now means everything. Can you elaborate on what Holy Mass means to you now?
I really can't envisage life without the Mass. And I go for daily Mass now. And God is so good to me that even though I don't drive, He provides drivers who come daily and pick me up for Mass.
Oh, isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, it's really beautiful. Because I now really understand that He knows my desire to be with Him. Yeah. And that's the Eucharist gives me strength now to deal with a number of people who keep calling me from all over the world. I wouldn't know what to say to them without Him. Yeah. But because He is alive within me, and I really believe that my body is a tabernacle of the Lord.
Beautiful.
A temple of the Holy Spirit.
And so how did you get to this position in your life where people are calling you from all over the world for spiritual direction?
It's a long journey. As I told you last time, He brought me to my senses with a crack on my skull. But after that, I just longed to know more. Long to know Him, not about Him. About Him, I told you I did the Bible study and things like that. I learned every bit of the Bible because we had to do that for a course.
Yeah, so that was more like theological.
That's a theological, intellectual. But
it
didn't transform my life.
Right.
But now I would run from pillar to post to get more food.
Yeah, more of the spiritual enrichment from it.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember once going for every little prayer meeting that I could go just to get more.
Yeah.
And 2 youngsters prayed over me.
Yeah.
And I found myself kneeling and they're laying hands over me. Funny situation, an old lady on her knees with young chaps, and tears rolled down my eyes. And I felt God's love through those youngsters.
Yeah.
And that was my journey went on like that.
Exactly, because God works through other people, doesn't He, to bring us to
Exactly.
Him.
And He worked through my husband, who was so supportive in everything that I did.
Wow.
And he was the one who goaded me on. He would sometimes take the phone calls and say, Celine, so-and-so phoned you up, will you phone back?
Yeah.
And he encouraged me tremendously in this journey.
That's right, and even, I'm not sure if you said it on TV or it was off camera, but he used to pray for hours for you, wasn't he? For your conversion, for your conversion of heart, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I keep telling people now,
That's beautiful.
don't give up on your spouse, please. Had my husband given up on me, where would I have been?
Oh, that's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah.
True.
So,
Gosh.
everyone, please don't give up.
Exactly.
Don't quit, because God has lots in store.
Yeah, we forget how important prayer is.
Yeah.
I'll just quickly read this message from Medjugorje, and
sure.
then we'll talk a little bit more, because it's all relatable. Our lady said on the 25th of July 2015, "Dear children, with joy I am with you also today, and I call all of you little children, pray, 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 so as to comprehend the love in which I have for you. The love, my love," she said, "is stronger than evil. Little children, therefore draw closer to God so as to feel my joy in God. Without God, little children, you do not have a future. You do not have hope or salvation. Therefore, leave evil and choose good. I am with you, and with you I intercede before God for all of your needs. Thank you for having responded to my call." Now, in that message, it's quite powerful, isn't it? She's saying straightforward, choose good, leave evil. Like, don't muck around with your faith, because there is no future. If you don't have God, you have no future, you have no hope. There's nothing.
You
What
know
do you
what struck
think?
me?
Yeah,
Pray, pray, pray. That's what my husband did.
100%, yeah.
And like she said, if you keep praying, 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 she is interceding, and she calls us to intercede for one another.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we're praying to God, and she's helping us with our needs to God as well, even though we can't feel her or see her necessarily. It's because prayer also builds our relationship with God.
Exactly.
If we continue to pray, it's not wasted time. It's actually building the most important relationship of our life.
Exactly.
With God.
Exactly. That's what I feel.
Yeah.
So my prayer time for me also is a very important thing, where I build my relationship with God before I talk to others.
Exactly.
Before I go on into my work, I need to be alone with my Lord.
Exactly. That's beautiful. We'll start with the first line. With joy I am with you also today, and I call all of you little children. Pray, 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 so as to comprehend the love which I have for you. Do you understand, do you feel like you feel Mary's love for you now after these years?
Yes. I feel her love for me. I feel that joy she's talking about, despite what is happening.
Yeah.
The little ups and downs we have.
Yeah.
I feel her presence,
Yeah.
her maternal presence very much.
Yeah. Beautiful. And also she says, my love is stronger than evil, little children. Therefore draw closer to God so as to feel my joy in God. It's like, if we want to feel joy in life, she's telling us exactly how to feel joy in life. Draw closer to God and you will feel the joy that she's feeling. So it's quite clear what to do. If we're not feeling joyful, we're feeling a bit down in the dumps, draw closer to God and we will experience the joy she's having.
Yes, I can relate to that very well.
Yeah.
Because I had everything, as I told you, and yet I had nothing.
Yeah.
There was always competition, evil, no joy. And now, in terms of what the world gives, I have nothing.
Yeah.
I'm 75 years old, so I don't even have age on my side. All right? But despite that, the joy that I feel, it's so bubbly sometimes.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Isn't that beautiful?
Absolutely.
That's all anybody wants. In the end, that's all anyone wants is to be happy.
Yeah. And sometimes people have mentioned that to me. Said, Celine, when we get round to you, how come we are so, you set us in...
We have to go to a break on that note. You're watching Spirit of Life. Stay with us. We'll be back with more very shortly. Hello and welcome back to Spirit of Life. I'm Mirella Rich. If you've just joined us, we're here with Celine Saldanha, who is a Catholic Bible teacher, and we're discussing Our Lady Queen of Peace's message from Medjugorje on the 25th of July 2015. Welcome back to the program. And we're discussing your life as well and your faith, but it's all interrelated, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
So Our Lady says, without God, little children, you do not have a future. You do not have hope or salvation. Therefore, leave evil and choose good. Wow. So that's quite powerful, isn't it? There's no mixing up the words with that one, is there?
No. And I've experienced that.
Yeah.
The evil and the good.
Yeah.
Which I am so grateful to our mother for interceding for me, to her son Jesus, and Jesus for his tremendous love and mercy that pulled me out of the muck and mire of evil, where there was no hope, no future, nothing, into this present life now, which I'm enjoying.
Wow. Wow, that's beautiful. And then Our Lady says, I am with you, and with you I intercede before God for all your needs. So then again she says, like, she's always praying for us. Yeah. We can't, like I said before, we can't feel all the time, but she's with us, she's praying for us. And at one point you also had a stroke, which was another time, that was while you had your faith. Tell us a little bit about that experience.
Well, it was on the 21st of February 1997, when I was sitting and watching a program by a famous violinist, Yanni. And as I was sitting, I just went down on my left side. No previous indication of blood pressure or whatever. And then they found that I had a clot on the right side of my brain, and my entire left side was absolutely paralyzed. And my husband was very, very helpful, very loving, very tender. After 3 months, you have to go for physiotherapy and things like that. And he would take me, try to help me to walk. First it was a few steps, a little more. Now we had the good fortune or the blessing of having a Blessed Sacrament chapel 3 blocks away from my house. And my walks would be to the chapel.
Yeah.
And that he'd put me on a chair there, with a stack of pillows at the side, because I'd go on to the left side, I had the paralysis of it. Yeah. And he'd put a stack of pillows there, and he'd entwine a rosary round my left hand. And I would sit down there. I couldn't pray because my thoughts were, I was absolutely dull, all cognitive abilities zero. And I would just sit down there, and that once when that rosary slipped off my hand, with these 2 fingers, I lifted it. It slipped onto my lap. And that was the beginning of my recovery to the position I'm in now.
Wow. And so in that moment you didn't have movement in your fingers?
No, left hand.
Yeah. And so you had no movement there?
No. I couldn't, because it was turned in this way.
Yeah.
The whole hand was turned in this way, and I had to use the right hand to shift its position.
And you feel in this way this was somehow the power of being in front of the Blessed Sacrament?
Exactly, because I couldn't pray. It was nothing to do with me. Certainly not. And the doctors had said that I would never return to normal again. The stroke was that bad. A part of my brain was damaged. And certain parts of the brain, when they are damaged, they don't return to normal. Okay? And they said it wouldn't do. But it happened. How? I didn't pray. Nobody prayed over me. I just sat there before him, but Jesus was aware of me. He was there in the Blessed Sacrament.
Yeah.
He looked at me. And he had a plan for my life.
Wow.
Today I realize that.
Yeah.
As in Jeremiah, they say, I have a plan for you, plan for your welfare, not for your destruction.
Yeah.
And today I realize that. Of course, at that time I didn't think that. Now, hindsight, I realized that he had a plan for me. He was looking with me with tenderness and compassion, and he healed me because that was. And the doctors asked me, "What did you do?" I said, "I looked at God."
Yeah.
That's all I did, and I was not even aware that I was looking at him. But now I know that even if I am not, he is always there with me. What a wonderful feeling! And for after that, the reality of Christ being there in the Eucharist. For me, every Mass is a healing Mass. Every Mass is where there's a transformation. As bread and wine is transformed into the body and blood of Christ, he transforms my problems for my good and for his glory.
Absolutely. Our Lady Queen of Peace says in Medjugorje, if you could see her in an apparition or go to the Holy Mass, she said she would prefer you to go to the Holy Mass because it's so powerful.
It's so profound. Absolutely.
It's amazing. It gives you shivers, really, because when you think of it, she's saying, like, imagine if you could actually see Mary in the, you know, and in the spirit, you would just see her here. Like, that would be, you'd think, wow, you know, you wouldn't want to go anywhere. You would just want to stay and watch. Yeah. But she said, even that, she would prefer you to go to Mass. So we have to really get our brains around it, you know, somehow, that it's powerful. Yeah.
And therefore, they make fun of me. I won't just tell you that.
Yeah.
They say, Celine, you're addicted to the Mass. I said, that's a wonderful addiction.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's a very healthy addiction.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful.
I wouldn't give up for anything.
Yeah. And your husband, was he alive to see all these transformations in you?
Yes.
Yeah, so he got to see all that.
Yes, he did. He did. In fact, in the last year of his life, I was with him and we used to pray together.
Yeah.
And we used to have a lovely time together.
That's so beautiful. Yeah. That was the last year of his life. Was that your strongest faith? Or were you already stronger than before that?
I was already strong, and because he was the one who was helping me in the mission as well.
Oh, right.
Yeah. I would give talks at different outreach programs.
Yeah.
All over the world.
Beautiful. Well, it's such a beautiful story that it ended that way with him as well.
Yeah.
Must have been so happy.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on the program, but we've got lots more to talk about. Would you like to come on next week?
Sure, if you'd have me.
Absolutely. You've been watching Spirit of Life. I'm Mirella Rich. Our guest was Celine Saldanha. See you again next week.
Bring it to birth and blow where you will. Blow, blow, blow till I be but breath of the Spirit.